Hello, everyday business leaders. Welcome to another segment. We're at JP the Geek Studio today, and we are interviewing business leaders from all over Indiana. Today, we have Bryana Schreiber with us, and she is talking to us about everything leadership in Johnson County, from nonprofits to Lilly Scholars to maybe the gym that she's doing with also fundraising. So we're going to talk a lot about her life, and I'm excited for you to meet her. Here we go. Bryana,
thanks.
This is awesome.
It is awesome. I'm so excited to be in the room with you. You are a magnetic leader yourself, so it's great to start the day here.
Oh, that's awesome. You know, I think about those connections that you meet. You go, how did I not know them before? Yes. And that's kind of what's happened with us. You know, we met, and then you reached out and said, hey, let's do a speaking engagement. You're doing adjunct professor at Franklin College with a leadership group. And so there's been so many things that I'm like, I need to include you in my life.
Oh, I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I want to share your story today.
Yeah.
Because you're married, you have a family, you're in Franklin, but you've not always been in Franklin.
No.
So I really want us to share the story about how you got to Franklin and then the things that you're doing to add value here back in the community in all of Johnson County, because
you're so kind.
You're amazing.
You're so kind.
I love it. So welcome.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I love Johnson County. It's a great place to be. And I will say, my husband and I, we grew up in different parts of the state. I actually moved a lot as a kid. So I lived in 7 different states. But I graduated high school from Mount Vernon in Posey County.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And my husband is from Northwest Indiana. So, we always joke opposite sides of the state, and Christmases when we first got married were very hard because you have to go, you're driving south, you're driving north.
Zones, or were you guys both in Central?
Yes. We were both in Central. Yeah. Because Mount Vernon was on that time. Yeah. And so now
confusing for people that don't live in Indiana. So there's 18 counties that are on different time zones, different times of the year. Used to be, right?
Yes, exactly.
So it's crazy, but yeah.
Yeah, because in Central Indiana, here we're not. We're on Eastern.
Yeah.
So it is crazy. So he and I met when we were in college, and we've been married 13 years. Big milestone. Hopefully it's a lucky year, not an unlucky one, number 13. But we have 3 children. Grant is 10, Garrett is 8, and Ella is 4. So I have 3 different schools this year, the intermediate school, the elementary, and then my daughter is in preschool at a different elementary in Franklin. So
that's awesome.
It's fun. They're all busy, and they are thriving in their community. So it's good.
So your husband is a coach.
Yeah, my husband is a teacher and a coach. So he's currently teaching at Clark Pleasant Academy, and he actually coaches for Franklin. He coached for Whiteland for many years, and then just made the jump a couple years ago to Franklin, so that I think he could help also coach the youth league where my boys play. Mm-hmm. And so our Friday nights are really like in the stands. My boys love to be on the sidelines, and I will say, he is not just like a high school football coach. He also coaches pretty much any sport my kids, decide to play. So I love that about him, that he is willing to just kind of dig in, and what he doesn't know, he'll learn. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, he is a great support system, I would say, just in my life, right? Because I am involved in a lot, as you mentioned, right? And so it takes, a loving family to be able to support that type of involvement. And I would say just anything that I've ever done, he's always kind of dug in alongside me.
Mm-hmm. That mindset that, when you get married, it's kind of like, okay, what's going to happen?
Yeah, I don't think he knew what he was signing up for.
It's like, oh my gosh, we're going to do all this stuff. But that's how you grow as a family and give your kids exposure to the things that, like, you have a capacity. Yeah. The more you do, the bigger capacity you have, right?
Yeah.
And so giving back, though, I think we were talking about this before that we went live, is people that have careers. And so I love the things that you're doing to help kids think about the career choices they're going to make next. Because my experience was I worked in the community for a while, but then I got involved in an industry in the medical device space. I was traveling for years and years and years. And I had forgotten to really be back in the community, to invest in that development. And so now I think that's why I'm so passionate about, like, I want to know what's going on. I want to hear it. I want to share it. I want to be involved. But tell me how that is when you're talking to kids, especially this whole Lilly Scholars Program and Leadership Johnson County and the things that you're doing to invest in the youth here, especially with your kids.
Yeah.
Like, how do you try to help them understand the right career choice so they can have that kind of a balance in their life?
Gosh, that's a great question. So I will say that I am very fortunate to be in my line of work. And I think that I feel that way because my community invested in me, right? So I was a recipient of the Lilly Endowment Community Scholarship, and I received that award in high school as a senior in 2004 in Posey County. And that award, even the further away I get from receiving it, right, I knew it was a big deal when I received it. It's a full tuition scholarship, right? And this is a program that is offered by Lilly Endowment. They give full tuition scholarships in all 92 counties of Indiana, and they have since 1998. Wow. And so, receiving that award, I remember that first year we were invited to this dinner up in Indianapolis where we got to meet the other recipients of that scholarship that year. And just sitting at the table with these other students from all of these other counties and recognizing like the opportunity that we had ahead of us, that award allowed me to go to the Indiana institution of my choosing. And so I chose Butler University. At the time, I was just really excited to have the experience of going to college, right? My parents had both done some college courses, but they hadn't graduated college. And so I was a first gen, college graduate, and not having the burden of paying for the tuition allowed me to get involved in so many other things, right? So I was involved in many extracurriculars. I started the first advertising club at Butler University, called Adrenaline. It was amazing. And then also started, while I was on campus, this Lilly Scholars Network, in collaboration with some other students from Wabash College. And so the whole premise behind the Lilly Scholars Network was really that we would come together to network, because all of us had an interest in like getting to know who were the other scholars throughout the state, but also to pay it forward, right? Like it was not lost on us that we had received a tremendous gift. And I believe that, to whom, much is given, much is expected. And Lilly Endowment never asked that of us, right? But it's something that is just kind of intrinsically felt and something that we wanted to act on. So we, created this network. It's wild to me that all those years ago, so that was probably 2006, we were, a volunteer-led organization for years and years. And that was something that I was always engaged in some capacity. And then in 2019, we received a grant from the endowment that I was able to do some consulting on. And just in January, I started as the full-time program director for that organization.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we have grant funds now that allow us to offer a lot of opportunities to our scholars. But also, I think that elevating the opportunities for those scholars also in turn positively impacts their communities.
Absolutely. I love how you framed it, that with that scholarship it allowed you to be involved.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of kids, they're struggling with just how to get into college and how to maybe navigate that financial commitment.
Yes.
And it's really hard, and that puts a lot of stress. They're changing environments.
Absolutely.
They're not with people that they're used to. They're trying to study maybe things or be involved in things that they've never experienced before. That's part of the college experience.
Exactly.
But if these kinds of grants that are available, and I'm working with another girl that she does programs for kids that are trying to get scholarships.
Yes.
And not knowing that they're available is part of the frustration, I think.
Sure.
Getting the word out there that there are opportunities for families. And so
yes,
there's tons of money out there.
Yeah, 21st Century Scholars, right? That's a fantastic program. And I am the oldest in my family. I'm the oldest of four, and so my mom and I, we navigated that whole process together too, right? The scholarship. I remember spending hours,
but
hours and hours doing
right?
that. But also, right, I would say that pattern of involvement, or like has been consistent probably throughout my life, right? So like junior high, high school, right? From everything from student council to being on the yearbook staff, right? Those are just, I think, the opportunities that have really enriched my life. And so that's why I continue them and like try to encourage others to get involved in that, right? Because there's work and there's, your family time, and both still require a lot of time and effort. But for me, it's like those extra opportunities are so life-changing. They're really impactful, and that's what makes me feel connected, I guess, more connected to my community. And I love just seeing people light up when they are able to experience the same.
Well, you have just kind of passed that from your heart. That's what I love about you, is you can just see this glow of, okay, you're going to be involved in it, so it's going to be great.
You're so kind.
It's true. Well, we talked about a little, Dancing with the Stars in Johnson County.
Yes.
So tell me about that experience, because I know you were a judge.
Oh, gosh.
So
it was so much fun. I would say back in... probably 2018, I really started to make like a concerted effort that I was going to do one thing each year that was an experience all new to me, but that would be benefiting a community organization, right? So I started out actually with running a marathon, and it was for St. Jude Children's Hospital. I actually got to go down to Memphis and run. The run goes through the campus, and I signed up to be a St. Jude hero, right? And so that included some fundraising effort, and so you kind of have to put yourself out there, right, and talk about. I think what it does make you do, though, is it makes you accountable, and you have to, tell your story kind of along the way, bring people along with you. And the hope in that, I think, is that, one, you're raising awareness for the cause, but also maybe inspiring somebody else to do something that's outside of their comfort zone. So each year has been something different. Dancing with the Stars was probably one of my favorite experiences ever. And in fact, I have to give a shout out to 5 Star Dance Studios. So they, donate the lessons for that cause. And you basically, as a dancer, you have to commit to raising $5,000 for your organization. And they also, you take dance lessons, right, for like 4 months. And so it was a big time commitment, but man, I learned so much about myself through that process, about what it meant to champion a cause. I partnered with Beats for Bristol. And so, that is an organization led by Katie Schwartz, and it's related to infant loss awareness, right? And so in between my oldest 2 and my youngest 1, we experienced infant loss, right? And so it was something traumatic in my life that I went through, and honestly probably I just didn't know how to deal with it, right? It was something that it was kind of like something that you're silently kind of grieving, right? But I think that you see this with so many causes. If you take the opportunity to act in that area, there's something healing about it. And so, yeah, that was that experience for me. Wow. We got to do ballroom lessons. I will say that I did involve my husband in those after Dancing with the Stars. Dancing with the Stars also was at an interesting time, right? I think my husband had gotten COVID not too far before, right? And so I was just at the cutoff where I was like, I might not be able to perform, and I've worked on this for months. And I made the cutoff, so it was great. It was, such a cool experience. And then this year I got to go back and judge. And so, just seeing the other community members, the dancers champion their cause, and kind of just the positive energy around that, right? That is one unique event in our county that brings all of these organizations together. They're competing in a sense, right? But we're really collectively raising awareness for all of them. And they raise a lot of money. It's such a great cause. And you think like, okay, you see it on TV, but bring it back into your community.
Yes.
And
I think a lot of communities are trying to do that. But it's great to hear your experience from that, because people need to get involved.
And I think, there's one dancer specifically, and I'm going to call him out here, Bo Jackson. I met him through my Leadership Johnson County class, and literally days before he was on stage at Dancing with the Stars. And, he was talking about in his video how he had been asked to dance for Assist Indiana. And he said, no, and then he finally said yes. And what a cool experience to have, right? And I think it probably, he would say this, opened his eyes to what that can mean, right? To champion a cause like that.
And knowing what that can turn on in you and trigger you to go, I didn't know, or this needs help.
Yes.
And so how can I then pass that on?
And there's something special about those Dancing with the Stars alumni too. Like, this year for the judging panel, it was all kind of previous dancers. And we just had so much fun getting back together. So next year's the 10th anniversary of that event. And I'm hoping we can get the dancers, to come back and really make it a really fantastic year.
It will be. It will be, because you're involved in it too.
Oh, no. I would just say, if you get asked to dance for Dancing with the Stars, do not say no.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
Yeah. Just challenge yourself, right?
Challenge yourself. Yes.
Yeah. Have your mindset of learning one new thing and doing something completely outside of your comfort zone.
Yes.
That really does change the game for so many people.
Yeah. And I always try to make it something unique and different. The last couple years have been probably one of the most thrill-seeking. This past year, or this year, I guess, August, I did parachuting with a purpose. And so I went skydiving.
I saw that.
with United Way, and jumped out of an airplane. That skydiving was on my bucket list. I didn't plan to do it until way later in life, once my kids were grown. But once I heard that the CEO, or the executive director, I guess, Fred Payne, was going, and he was going to go out in the airplane before us, I was like, okay, if he'll do it, I will too.
I got this.
I got this. And then rappelling. Prior to that, we did Over the Edge, and you rappel down a building in Indianapolis. That one, I would say, definitely got your heart pumping with the fear of heights more, probably even than skydiving. But I dressed up as Spider-Woman. My kids came in costume, right, to watch. And I think it's cool. I like pushing the boundaries and having them see that that's possible.
Well, it's exciting to watch you.
Thanks.
But there's a lot of people that say, I'm afraid to try that. Or if I did, I would have all these parameters. And so you just have to go all in. That's what I love about your story is you're like, I'm doing it. I'm committed to it. And I'm just going to experience it, right?
Yes. And, it's funny. I have actually, though, some friends who... one who signed up for Over the Edge, and she was committed, and she was like, I'm doing this. Well, she raised the money, and then she was like, I actually can't do this. So she didn't go down the building, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a great experience for her, right? And so
that was her experience.
Yeah, it's okay to step forward and try. Right. And even if you don't, if you're not able to see it all the way through, right? Or you learn something about yourself in the process. So it's good.
Hi, this is Melahni Ake. When you visit everydayleaders.com, you'll find valuable resources to become a better leader in your life. Women's leadership programs, including Top Floor Women, our monthly networking events, corporate workshops, and strategic business coaching services. Discover classes and products to develop yourself, including our morning leadership devotionals. Don't forget, order one of my inspirational books, sign up for classes, or pick up some gear in the Leader Store. Listen to the Everyday Business Leaders podcast, apply to be a guest in our studio, or even sponsor your own commercial advertisement. Contact us today at everydayleaders.com.
Talk to me about, I don't want to forget the gym, right?
Oh,
the
yeah.
Uplifting. So the things that you're doing, I just want you to take us on this journey, how this evolved, and then the things that you're doing to give back, because I think people need to know about this.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
This is probably the thing that I'm doing right now that I'm most excited about, just because it has been kind of a leap of faith, right? We found a home, our uplifting fitness community found a home at Grace United Methodist Church, so right off of 44 in Franklin. And this actually started in January. So January 1, right, of this year, we started Uplifting Fitness, and it is truly a fitness community that is focused on not only uplifting those who come and work out, right? Lifting weights, right? We did play on words. But it's also intended to uplift causes in our community and those who are served by them. And so we basically outlined the community kind of spoke into what are the organizations or charities that are important to you, right? And we really looked for a mix of youth serving, senior, something that reaches seniors, that something in the health space, education. And so we made out a calendar of these are the 12 months. We kicked off our year with Kick It, which we thought was really fitting. We do offer kickboxing classes, so it was a nice kind of tie-in. But I also would say that started out choosing charities that I already had kind of an existing relationship with, right? Because it was a new venture and I wanted to see how it would go, but also knew that I had strong enough relationship with those folks, or at least personal relationships with them, that if it didn't go okay, they would still love me. So, we started out with just early morning fitness classes. So I teach very early, and it's probably because my life is pretty full otherwise. So 5 a.m. And 5:45 is what we started off with. And then I have added to my instructor team. So Shoshana Riley, she won Dancing with the Stars last year. She's amazing. But she, teaches Dance Fit, Budokai. She has been in the fitness industry for over 20 years. She's just phenomenally talented. And so brought her alongside me. I quickly realized that I needed some help and that it takes a team, right? And it's honestly more fun with a team. So Shoshana and I, we started out kind of partnering and teaching those 5 a.m. classes. She now does the 8:15 a.m. classes. And then Christy Hayden, who is probably the most full of life, vibrant person I've ever met, she teaches our 6 p.m. sport class. And Christy, so I got into group fitness in 2015. And Christy, though, was a student, like a member, I guess, where I previously taught, so at the sweatshop. And she, I remember her coming into my 5 a.m. class, and she was hooping and hollering, and I was like, it's 5 a.m., like my morning crew, they were great and brought the energy, but she just brought it to that next level. And so we just had a real strong connection. And her energy is contagious. She's just one of those people, right? She's a hugger. She brings the positivity wherever she goes. So it's great to be doing this with that team. I will say, we're 8 months in, and, each month is different, and that's exciting, right? We are embracing a different cause each month.
Right.
We bring the charity partner in at the start of the month to talk about their cause, so that everybody is kind of like grounded in and aware of what the mission of the organization is, and maybe some things that they do in the community, right? So I always tell people, like, if you're coming, bring some materials that you can share with us. If you have volunteer needs, let us know, right? And if there are any kind of special events coming up that we can help support, let us know that. So we kind of start out there, and then we also do, we try to do at least one special event per cause. So sometimes it works out that charity has an event that we can just go to, right, and attend. And other times we organize individual, like something else, right, that is intended to raise money for that cause. So it's been so cool. We just got done. We did a Boys and Girls Club boogie last weekend. And that was a collaboration. Megan Edwards, who teaches Zumba at Grace, Rafael Sanchez and Travis Fuller with Men in Motion. And so, we brought all these instructors together. Each of us taught about 20 minutes. And it was a themed event back to the 80s, 90s. And we had a ball.
That's awesome. That's awesome. See? There's just so much going on. How do you really keep everything in alignment, because I know there's a lot of people that go, I'm so busy, I could never do what you do.
Sure.
But I think part of it is your attitude, like you just know that you're going to tackle these things because you have a team around you. You've said this.
I do have a team, yeah.
A team around you, you've got the right environment, you've got the right mindset, and you have kind of a vision of purpose. So it's kind of this mission-filled vision that you say, how can I do more to give back?
Sure.
And so when you give, you get so much more in return, right? The ideas and the people that say, hey, I want to join your cause. I want to be a part of it. Talk about the experience. Was that, and I know you were involved a lot in high school, so that kind of mindset carried through, but what do you think, was there anything specific?
Like the catalyst to that?
that made you go, I am driven to do this for the rest of my life.
So probably receiving the scholarship, honestly. I think that to me was like my community believed in me, or at least that's how it felt, right?
Yeah.
Like that they invested in me. And I recognized that the gift, right, was through Lilly Endowment. But just to be selected for that award, I was so honored, right, and humbled to receive something like that. And I remember thinking, like, I will spend the rest of my life paying it forward, right? Like, this is a tremendous gift, and I am so grateful. And, yeah, just I can't think of a better way to pay it forward. So I will say with the Lilly Scholars, with the Lilly Scholars Network and my role as program director, I have an opportunity to really develop a lot of great opportunities for our scholar base. One is just connecting them, right? So we plan events to bring them together. So we did our first scholar launch this year at Bradford Woods, and it was a camp style overnight, right, where they got to come and go ziplining and kayaking and just really get to know one another. We brought in Tamika Catchings as our kickoff speaker, and she's phenomenal. Yeah. And we're doing a mentoring program. We're working on a leadership academy for these folks. But I think the program that probably has always spoken most to me, and the reason why I've stayed engaged, is we started in 2015, the Give Back Initiative, which was something where we asked scholars to basically go back to their community and do a service project. And at that time, there was no funding for this, right? We were just all volunteer-led. It was, I always like to say our network is for, by, and through scholars. But we are generously supported by Lilly Endowment. And so having now full-time folks to focus on it, we do have funding. But we had, created this big map of Indiana, and it was amazing to me that these scholars were willing to step forward and say, oh yeah, I'll take that county, I'll take this county, I'll take that county. And then to see what types of projects they proposed, right, or they were doing. And so now we have a formalized grants program called the Lead Forward Community Grants, and I have the list of topics, but they have touched over a third of Indiana's counties. These are $2,500 awards. They are invited to partner with a 501c3. And so it has just really elevated that experience. I can see now that our scholars are able to, move from ideation where they're thinking, oh, I'm passionate about that, or I have an idea. This would be a really great way to improve my community, to now well, what does that look like? Let's talk a little bit more about that, right? How could you make that happen? Who else would you need, right? You can't probably do it alone, right. But who's already doing work in that space, right? And so those one-on-one chats that I have with scholars do give me life, right? It's a great opportunity to talk with them about what idea do you have? And then let's talk about how we can make that possible, right? A realistic time frame, a realistic budget, all of those things. And they learn a little bit about grant writing, right? Obviously in the process, but then seeing them actually receive the award and then implement the project and take some time at the end to reflect on how did that impact, I think they anticipate the community impact because it's something they have to speak about in the grant, but they don't always recognize the personal impact.
Yeah. It changes your heart.
Changes your heart.
Right. That's what I always see is you can look at something and you can say, I want to be involved in that. But when you actually step forward and you take the action, that's when you have a whole different perspective of like the compassion, the empathy. And then maybe you realize, like you did at a certain time, I experienced something that I'm really getting value from this. And so how do you turn that on for people? And I think that's what you do and all these things that you're doing. And I really want people to know who you are, because you're a community leader, you're a business leader, you're helping people elevate that next thing of like, what do I want to create and who do I want to be?
Thank you. That's so kind. I'm really excited about Leadership Johnson County and like getting to know others. Right. When I walked into the opening retreat last week, there were just really a handful of people that I knew, but the class this year is big. It's 47 people.
Wow.
And the facilitators did a fantastic job allowing us to like really get to know everyone in the room. And I didn't expect to go away pretty much knowing everyone's name, right? And just how often do we have those opportunities, right, to get in the room with people and really like connect with them and understand, all the things that they're balancing in their life. You asked, how do you do all of these things? But for me, I look at really everyone in my life and I wonder the same thing, right? Like I look at you and I'm like, oh my gosh, how does she do it? How does she do it? And so, but we all, I think everybody's kind of got to find their own, balance. And my mom, the other day was like, you need to give, something up. Like you have to give something up. And I was like, well, I can't give, not that. Yeah. Not that. I think probably my problem is the things that light me up the most are the things that aren't necessarily rewarded in dollars, right? It's something different than that. It's just deeper than that.
Passing it on.
Yeah, they're legacy things. I'll give one example of a Lead Forward grant because I do think these are cool stories. One, we had a freshman at DePaul last year who I always think I'm amazed by the freshman scholars who step up and say, oh yeah, I want to lead something. I'm like, you're just a freshman in college and like just getting acclimated to being at school. But she wanted to do something to help her like track and field team, right? And so we were like, well, we came up basically with a 5K. And so she is from Monrovia, a small town, small community. And she pulled off this 5K. I mean, she did everything from designing the medals, the T-shirts, coming up with all the race promotions, working with the sponsors, coordinating with the volunteers. We were out on the golf cart together, marking the course, and just seeing her have the vision, make that come to reality, and then I think that, her family, right, got involved in that event. They came alongside her. But now the school is picking that event up as a legacy event.
Oh, my gosh.
So it's going to be, a fundraiser for years to come for their track and field team, something that she initiated. And she's already asking me about other grant opportunities. And she's just a sophomore. And I'm like, oh, my goodness.
So cool.
But it is really cool to, like, just see something ignite in them. It's you seed something, right, and watch it grow or light a spark and, see it start a flame.
That's so wonderful. I could sit with you for weeks.
Same.
This is awesome. Thank you so much for spending time. I know you are tremendously busy, and it just was on my heart that I really wanted to celebrate you.
Oh, thank you.
Because every business, if you're a business owner, if you're a community leader, like thinking about the things sometimes it's really hard because you're doing your business every day.
Yes.
But having somebody like you, even just as a thinking partner or on a board or in a community program, like just to have that person that gives you the spark that says, we can do it differently.
Yeah.
Like we could bring in something else that will really give back. So,
well, thank you so much.
So thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
I do have to give a shout out to Melahni too. So I taught for my very first time last spring. It was a leadership course at Franklin College as an adjunct. And to be honest, I bit off more than I could chew, right, with starting the new job and starting the gym and teaching. But one of the great things was being able to invite others into the classroom, right? And you were so generous to you spend your time with my class.
That was awesome.
After just meeting you at that women's retreat, and then I just really appreciate that you would do something like that where you step forward and just say, yes, I'd be glad to come and lead an exercise. And you're so giving of your time. So I appreciate it. It's very reciprocated.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
I'd love to. That's why I think our hearts connect so much, because you say, what can I do differently? How can I be involved? And what can we tell people about to just get them inspired, right?
Right.
You can do it too.
Yeah, yes.
You can do it too.
You can, yes.
That's awesome.
And there's so many ways, right? I mean, yeah, everything from I have some amazing, there's amazing PTO moms, right? And you're not going to be able to do all of these things at all the points in your life, right? So there were definitely times when my kids were little that I could not have probably supported all of these things, right? And so just understanding that your involvement may look different in different seasons, and that's okay, right? Mm-hmm. Understanding, when that leadership makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh. What a great way to end that.
Thanks.
All right, so come back and be a friend of the show, right?
Yes,
come back
absolutely.
And keep us posted on things that are going on.
Thank you for having me.
You're
That was
welcome.
wonderful.
You're welcome. And you can contact Bryana Schreiber here at all the contacts, all the links, and we're going to share her information so you can get involved too in all the things that she's doing across Johnson County and Indiana. Thanks for tuning in, and we're here at JP the Geek Studio. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.